an email at 6 in the morning. That is how it ended for 12,000 Oracle India employees on April 2026. It wasn't a meeting, it wasn't a conversation, it wasn't even a phone call. Before they had finished their morning tea, a single email announced their last working day. Now, here is the thing that nobody is saying out loud about those 12,000 people. Most of them had excellent performance reviews, which means the one thing you had been told will protect you, your performance, did not protect them. So today, I want to answer the one question that matters more than any other career question you have right now. If performance doesn't make you untouchable, what does? I'm actually borrowing this question from a friend of mine who was also impacted by this layoff. After the layoff, it took him a few weeks to reach out to me. He reached out to me and asked me this exact same question. If performance doesn't make you untouchable, what does? And that's what is actually inspiration for today's video. I'm not going to tell you to play politics. I'm not going to tell you to hoard knowledge so nobody can replace you, because frankly, that doesn't work at all. In fact, on the contrary, you might get fired sooner. I'm not going to give you 10 tips that sound smart on a LinkedIn post and do nothing in real life. What I'm going to show you is one real move. The one that actually changes your position, not in your own mind, but in the mind of the person who is sitting in that room where a decision like this is made. And frankly, it is much simpler than you think. But most professionals miss it their entire career. People have gone through their entire career without really realizing this one little thing that they could have done better. So I want to take you into a room most professionals never see. Not an HR room, not a performance review panel. It's a boardroom. In that boardroom, a leadership team has been given a number. It would say cut 20% of the cost, or it would say reduce headcount by certain percentage. That is an instruction that came from above, and now they need to produce a list. Every name that stays off the list is there for one reason. Removing them would hurt more than keeping them. Now, here is where most people get this wrong. They hear that and think, okay, I need to make myself hard to replace. I need to be the only person who knows certain things. I need to create dependencies. That is the wrong lesson. And it is actually the move that gets smart people fired faster and doesn't make it any better for them. Let me tell you why. There are two kinds of professionals that companies cannot easily remove, right? Type 1, the bottleneck. This person knows things nobody else does, but only because they never shared them. They are the only one who can run a certain report, manage a certain relationship, or navigate a certain process, and they keep it that way deliberately. But here is what happens to the bottleneck in a restructuring decision. In the short term, they survive because removing them breaks something, right? In the medium term, leadership notices they have a single point of failure in their organization, and one of the two things could happen. They build a process to replace the person. They ask themselves, why does this person not share what they know? What are they protecting? So a bottleneck may survive layoffs, but they don't get promoted. And eventually they get managed out. And then there is type 2, the catalyst. The catalyst is someone who is irreplaceable for a completely different reason. Not because they hold, but because they produce. Because every team they lead gets better. Every problem they touch gets cleaner. Every room they walk into makes better decisions than before they arrived. When a catalyst leaves, the organization doesn't just lose a person, it loses an entire level of performance that it does not know to recreate without them. That is a completely different kind of untouchable, and it is the only kind worth building. So now let's discuss what are the 3 things that can make you a catalyst. The first, be the person in the room that can solve the problem that matters. Not the best person in your job description, the best at the problem the organization is actually trying to solve right now. Most professionals optimize for their roles. Catalyst, optimize for the outcome. When your organization is trying to grow revenue, are you the person who understands why the revenue is stuck? Not just a part of it, but the whole problem. When your organization is trying to cut costs, are you the one who can see exactly where the waste is and what it would take to fix it? The professionals who understand the real problem, not just the slice of it, are the last people any leadership team wants to lose, because that understanding took years to build. It cannot be hired in 2 weeks or trained in a quarter. Be indispensable at the level of the problem, not the task. Now, this is a profound thought and is worth repeating. Be indispensable at the level of the problem, not the task. Now, with that, I'll move on to the second one. The second one is make the person around you better. Right? Here is the single most powerful career move available to a mid-level manager right now. Not being the best performance on your own team, but making your team the best performing team in the organization. When your team consistently outperforms, when people from other departments want to work with your team, when leadership talks about your team as the benchmark, they're not just recognizing your team's work, they are recognizing you. Because results like that do not come from team alone. They come from the environment somebody created around them. A professional who makes 12 people perform at the level of 20 cannot be cut, because if they go, those 12 people will not continue performing at that level. The organization loses the difference. That is not cost savings, that is destruction of value. Which leads me to point number 3. The third one, solve the problem everyone else is avoiding. Every organization has a problem that has been there for years. Everyone knows about it. Everyone complains about it in the private. Nobody has fixed it because it is messy, thankless, and there is no obvious glory in it. The catalyst, however, does not avoid that problem. The catalyst walks towards it. They study it, they own it, they build a solution, not once, but systematically. And here is what happens when you do that. Senior leadership does not forget the person who solved the problem they have been living with for 3 years, not because of politics, because relief is one of the most memorable professional emotions. When something that used to cost time, money, frustration just stops being a problem, the person who made that happen becomes permanently associated with that relief, the emotion of relief. That association is worth more than any performance rating in any layoff room. I want to be completely honest with you about what I'm describing right now. This is not a shortcut. This is not a hack. What I'm describing is the decision to be genuinely, unmistakably excellent at the things that actually matter to your organization. Executed at a level that makes your presence feel essential and your absence feel like a loss. Not because you have made yourself difficult to remove, but because you've made the organization genuinely better. When you operate at that level, something quietly changes in every professional conversation you have. Think about it. Say you go into a salary negotiation. Your salary negotiation is going to be different. Your promotion conversation is going to be different. Your skip level's perception of you is going to be different, not because you asked to be seen differently, but because excellent work at the right level of the problem creates its own visibility. The professional who is genuinely indispensable does not need to tell anyone that they are indispensable. The organization already knows. The 6 a.m. email lands for the people who were good at their tasks. It does not land for the person who was solving the organization's actual problem at a level nobody else could. Not because the company protects them out of loyalty, because losing them costs more than any spreadsheet saving. Here is your one action for this week. Write down the single most important problem your organization is facing right now. Not your department's problem, the organization's problem. Now ask yourself, How much do I genuinely understand about why this problem exists and what would actually fix it? If the answer is not enough, that is your development priority. Not your next performance goal, not your visibility strategy. The depth of your understanding of the problem is the most valuable career asset you can build right now. When you become the person with the deepest understanding of that problem that matters, you are not a resource on a spreadsheet. You are not just a name on a spreadsheet. You are the answer to the question the organization cannot afford to leave unanswered. If you have come this far in the video, thank you so much for sticking around, and that also means you liked the video. If you like this, please give me the thumbs up. It does not cost you anything, and please subscribe to the channel. Again, it does not cost you anything, but it will help the channel a lot, and I'll be able to bring much better content. It will be encouraging for me to work harder and make much better content for you. I plan on bringing guests on the channel so that you will get much richer experience, much more richer content and knowledge from multiple perspectives. Please subscribe to the channel and share this video with family, your colleagues, your friends who might find this useful. Thank you until the next time.